Hey, what is going on, guys? RvzStealth here, and in today's video, I'm going to be giving you guys my opinion on the best mid lane champions for patch 6.9. So this patch, a lot of the mid laners did get buffed or they did get changed, and therefore my list is pretty much completely different from the one I did back in 6.8. So with that being said, guys, let's get into the video. So first on my list is going to be Veigar. So Veigar got a really nice change to his passive this patch. Now he not only gains AP when he kills a minion with his Q, but with his new passive, whenever he lands an ability on an opponent, he's going to gain 1 AP, so he just scales insanely well now, and I really don't think that was the change Veigar needed. He was already a really strong scaling champion. When I was playing against a Veigar yesterday, he had over 800 AP, like 20 to 25 minutes in with only 2 items, so you can basically one-shot the enemy AD carry 25 minutes in with your ultimate. I'm pretty sure I did that when I was playing him against a Kalista. I missed all of my abilities, but I just pressed R and she died, and I was just really surprised at how much damage I did with my ultimate because it does scale really well with ability power, which pretty much all of his abilities do. So the more AP you get on Veigar, like the more damage you're going to do, which just makes him a very strong scaling champion. His E is also a really strong ability too. It gives you great zoning potential in teamfights, and it does stun for a very long duration. One tip I need to give you guys when you are playing Veigar is to max your E second, not your W. Too many people max W second on Veigar, but you don't need to do that because your W already has a really good AP ratio on it, so there's no point in maxing that second for the base damage. You want to max your E second on Veigar to get that stun duration up there, because I'm pretty sure it's at 2.5 or a 3-second stun once you do get it at max rank. And one con to Veigar though is that he does not have any mobility, so he is a little bit weaker if you are going up against someone like a Warwick or a Rengar, or someone who can jump on you and assassinate you. Next on my list is going to be Victor. So Victor got some really nice buffs specifically to his Q and his ultimate this patch, which make him a much stronger pick in my opinion. So the changes he got to his ultimate are, if you guys remember before, Victor's ultimate, it would do a lot of damage right away, but then over time it wouldn't really deal too much damage. But now with Victor's ultimate, it's still going to do pretty good damage straight up right when you place it, but it's going to do a lot more damage over time now, which is really good for teamfighting, just keeping up consistent damage. And if you can get your ultimate off and you can keep it on multiple targets in a team fight, then it's going to deal a lot of AoE damage now. He does still have a very strong late game. His wave clear is also some of the best in the game for any mid laner with his E. He does have pretty strong zoning potential in team fights too with his W, and of course his one-shot potential is still there. A Q ultimate, once you do have full build on Victor, can one-shot any AD carry in the game. And a few cons to Victor though are that he does not have any mobility in the early game until you do get the upgrade on your Q, so you do have to be careful in the laning phase that you aren't pushing out without wards. And his E can definitely be a little bit harder to land at first when you just start playing Victor, so if you haven't played him at all yet, then he isn't a champion I would recommend heading right into ranked with, but he is definitely very strong if you can play him correctly. Next on my list is going to be Ahri. So you guys probably get tired of me talking about Ahri in these videos because I have her on my list pretty much every single patch. She is still a great pick though. She's got great pick potential with her charm. Her ultimate allows her to roam really nicely, and it also allows her a lot of outplay potential in the laning phase. Whenever you do hit level 6 as Ahri, just make sure to try to go for an all-in. Try to hit your charm and try to burst down your opponent. Also, when you hit level 6, try to shove the wave in and look for a roam with Ahri, because she is definitely one of the stronger roaming champions with her ultimate. One con to Ahri is that she is a little bit more skill shot reliant than some of the other mid laners because of her charm and her Q. Next up is going to be Annie. So Annie got some really nice changes this patch, specifically to her ultimate and her E. So now Annie's ultimate, it's kind of funny. You guys will see in the gameplay here what it does now, but basically whenever you place it down and you place it down with your stun ready, Tibbers is going to gain a ton of movement speed, and he's also going to gain a lot of attack speed as well, so he's just going to go really crazy on whoever you do stun, and her burst potential is just really good now. Whenever you die, Tibbers, if he's still alive, it's kind of like a Scion ultimate. He'll gain that movement speed and he'll gain that attack speed, so you can definitely like clean up team fights with Annie. Let's say you die and the enemy AD carry is sitting beside you or something, Tibbers is probably gonna kill them most likely because he's gonna gain that movement speed and he's going to just end up bursting them down. She does still have that great pick potential too with her flash alt combo, so make sure you look for those when you are playing as Annie. And she is a very easy to play mid lane champion too. She really doesn't have any skill shots. I guess you could say her W and her ultimate are skill shots, but they are pretty easy to land. And one or two cons to Annie are that she does not have any mobility, and she also is pretty predictable, and once you do get to late game as her, if the enemy team starts picking up Banshees, let's say the AD carry has a Banshees and the enemy mid laner gets a Banshees, then it's going to be hard for you to find that target to burst down. And lastly, on my top 5 for this patch, I have Malzahar. So Mal's got some really nice changes to his passive and his W this patch. His passive is now really strong because if you guys don't know already, what it does is whenever you don't take any damage for a certain duration, you're going to gain this effect where you can't be CC'd and you take 90% reduced damage for 1 second. So this just allows Malzahar to pretty easily just use his ultimate on that target he wants to in a team fight, and he doesn't have to worry about getting CC'd or getting bursted down right away. So he's got really strong pick potential now, and he's also still does have that really good single target burst damage as long as he can get his ultimate off on the squishy target on the enemy team. He is also a fairly easy champion to play, so guys, if he's not banned, which he is banned like 80% of the time, I'm pretty sure this patch, then definitely look to pick him up, especially if you are playing in the lower elos, because he's a pretty low risk, high reward champion right now. And one con to Malzahar is that he does not have a gap closer, but that really isn't that big of an issue anymore because of his new passive. So first up on the honorable mentions, I have Zyra. Zyra also got some pretty good changes this patch. She is definitely a much stronger pick now. I would definitely recommend trying her in the mid lane. She is also a pretty good support, but Zyra does have really strong burst damage, and she also does have pretty good damage over time with her plant. So if you were thinking about picking up Zyra this patch, then I would pick her up for sure. Next up is going to be my favorite mid lane champion right now, Veigar. So Veigar does have really good burst damage now. His ultimate did get a really nice buff, and if you can get a nice AoE ultimate off in a team fight now with Veigar, you're going to do so much damage. He does have that true damage in his kit too, so that just allows him to burst down those squishy targets and chunk down those tanks really nicely. Next up is TF. So TF is a really good roaming mid lane champion. His ultimate is a really game-changing ability. You want to be using this whenever it is off cooldown, because if you can get some nice roams off in the laning phase as TF, get your lanes going, then you can definitely end up snowballing the game really hard. Next up, I have Zed. So Zed did get a nice indirect buff this patch. QSS no longer works on his ultimate, so this just makes his mid to late game a lot stronger now. He's going to be able to use his ultimate on that enemy AD carry, and they aren't going to be able to get rid of it, so that just makes his burst damage a lot stronger against those AD carries now, and it just makes him a much better pick. Next up, I have Phys. So Phys is probably one of the most annoying mid lane picks in the game to go up against. Once you do get 40% CDR on Phys, his E is on like a 4 or 5 second cooldown, and that just allows him to be really slippery in team fights. It's so hard to focus a Phys in team fights because his E is always going to be off cooldown pretty much. If he does end up getting a Zhonya's, then he can jump in, use his burst combo, pop Zhonya's, and then just jump out with his E if he needs to, or jump back in to deal more damage. So Phys is a pretty strong assassin if you are looking to play him. And to round out the honorable mentions for this patch, I have Brand. So Brand is even a stronger teamfight champion this patch now with the changes he got to his passive. His passive now, whenever he does land 3 abilities on the opponent, his passive will kick in and it will deal a lot of damage now. So it's really strong for just team fighting, and his ultimate synergizes really well with his passive, because if he gets those 3 bounces of his ultimate, then his passive is going to proc and it's going to deal a lot of burst damage. So if you guys haven't tried Brand this patch, then I would recommend it. So that is going to be it for this video, guys. If you did enjoy, then don't forget to drop a like and subscribe if you have not already. So thanks for watching, guys. Have an awesome day, and I will see you in my next video.